it feels like we haven't worked with a ton of bands like one-on-one collaborating. I feel like, I mean, definitely like doing like weekender run like tours. We've had like a few different bands. We kind of did like a little run with my side band, China, back a couple of years ago around Halloween. We like went out to Ohio and did a Milwaukee thing. But Lunar Moth, we went out on tour with like last year down to Kentucky. We did like a weekender with Popstar earlier this year. Did one with Nasty Boys earlier this year. Have we ever done a couple weekenders with them? Yeah, I think so, right?
Yeah. I think last year we did something with the Nasty Boys, so yeah.
So kind of a lot of like finding like another band that we're like friends with or get along with, or the music goes well, good together, and just doing like a whole weekend of shows with them is usually like, that's kind of our favorite way to like collaborate with another band.
You want to be, if you're in a hard rock band, go look for, a hard rock label. And if that's what you want to do, if you want to be surrounded by people of the same genre, that might be beneficial to you. Especially if you're pitching to sort of the bigger indie labels, it definitely helps sometimes to be on a genre specific label. You definitely want to, if someone's never, if don't approach labels who've never released something in your genre. I feel like that might be a waste of your time. I said in the last episode, if someone's playing disco, don't send us disco music. We don't put that out. But if you're somewhat in that vein, that's perfect. That being said, I have a big thing I want to say, because this has happened so many times. And people do this all the time with emails, I think. But when you're doing copy paste, I get it. It makes things easier. Make sure you know who you're talking to. I've gotten a lot of emails when someone says like, hey, Fat Records, hey, Asian Man Records, hey, Bad Times Records. But they're emailing me, and they got the email right at the top, because it came to me, but they didn't ever change. So be careful with that, because I can tell you, if you didn't pay that much attention to detail and you said that, I'm just like right into the trash. It's no offense, but like just try to get it right. That is a thing though. So be careful who you're writing and how you're writing it, because that's important. Presentation and attention to detail, very important qualities to have when you're pitching to a record label.
One of the key things about Gwar was that with the nature of what we were doing, I knew that there was an audience out there that would really be into what we're doing, but maybe would never come into the kind of venues that we played at, the crappy punk rock clubs and stuff like that we would play in as we traveled around the country. So one of the things I tried to do to help to promote Gwar was try to get us into comic conventions and science fiction conventions and horror conventions and stuff like that. And once the conventions realized that when I came, I was going to set up a big display with lots of props and costumes for people on display. And it was going to be, I would have a lot of characters walking around in costume and stuff like that too. And so that was a good way to help to promote the band. And while I'm there, I'm meeting all kinds of other people that have booths and stuff there and stuff like that. So that it's networking on multiple levels, and you get to eye-to-eye contact, and you get to meet the people and hang out with them a little bit, and that's how you make a real bonding, long-lasting fan friendship with people, And I can really relate to them too as well, because there's plenty of stuff that I'm all geeked out about myself, that when I meet people, like for instance, one time at a convention, I got to meet Dr. Smith from the original Lost in Space TV show, which was really cool. I never thought that I would ever meet that guy, and to meet him and him like be that character, be Dr. Smith. And it was really a cool experience. The same thing with artists and and stuff that I'm into, and all of a sudden I get to meet them. I'm like, whoa, and I'm like, I hope they don't think I'm an idiot, as I'm shaking nervously, shaking their hands, and stuff like that.
Podcasts were like almost brand new and starting to gain this hype, but it was still really for nerds, which I was, but I was a music nerd. So it was a lot of people who wanted to be on the radio, but you're not going to school for it, or you just kind of want to DIY it. And I never had the money or the great equipment or the know-how to broadcast live back then and stuff like that. And so the podcast was like, hey, you host your own video, or you host your own radio show, and you put it online, and hopefully somebody listens. And I've always wanted to do radio and stuff like that. So promotion of music has always been a huge thing to me. I mean, just the community aspect of it alone is enough for me to actually meet people who understand and are going through the same kinds of things as you and have the same sort of goals and don't have the same hang-ups that I guess we would say normal people do, where they can't be silly or they can't, it's really hard for non-artists to be in this space. So it's cool meeting a lot of artists and even non-artists who are just really about the music and the art and how they can help too.
So when you mentioned you create art, thinking about marketing, that's exactly what I do. So there's a song working on right now that starts with the word "shut up," and I thought that that's such a cool way because for me with marketing, it's you always have to grab people's attention. You always have to think about like what is gonna make someone stop to listen. So if you tell them to shut up, that's one way to get them to listen. To me, a big part, and that's why you always have the term shock value. It's like you have to get people's attention immediately. And even in songwriting, that's a big thing they talk about. It's like, how do you create connection? And a big part of like human beings, we're designed to pay attention to things that are different, that can hurt us, that offend us. So if things are too salient and too commonplace, we ignore them naturally. So I think a big part of like thinking about marketing as you're creating allows you to say what is going to grab someone's attention, because I've learned this earlier on. It's not about being great necessarily. It's about something being remarkable. And remarkable means, by definition, there's going to be remarks about said product, right? So you always have to think, what would somebody say about this? What would, it's never, there's a lot of great, but what's different? What's interesting? What in a room of all black bags, the one red bag is gonna stick out. It may not be the best bag, but people are gonna see that red bag, even if it's a plastic bag in the midst of Louis Vuittons. You know what I mean? So that might be a little difficult because Louis Vuittons have a branding, but you know what I'm saying. If it's comparable in branding, that red bag is gonna stick out.
As far as the social media stuff goes, I would say it's been about 2 years. And the like all things, the first attempts were not successful. And I remember with some of the guys I play music with, we got together to like shoot this thing, and I was like, all right, now I kind of realized that like it almost sounds obvious now, but it wasn't obvious to me, because when I came up, social media was like MySpace and stuff. And I've never been that tech savvy of a person. Like I don't spend time on scrolling TikTok or anything like that. So I sort of realized that like video was where it's at. That's the most sort of reliable way to build a fan base without kind of relying on gatekeepers or anything like that. So the first time we shot something, we put a lot of effort into it, and it really did not do very well. Didn't get a lot of views or engagement. And, we just made a lot of mistakes. Like we shot it horizontally, that's a mistake. Like we're in the world of vertical video. We kind of took too much time with it. It's like the vibe these days is like quick and easy to.
It's hard because not every band that ends up sticking around starts as a version, and if after 5 years that band has usually found the sound or what they're going to become. So, starting out at first and saying this is the image, this is the logo, this is our sound, I don't. That's not necessarily organic, but for what we tell younger bands starting out is make sure that people can read your name. That's always been the biggest thing for us, and why one of the reasons that you've seen different Coffin Cat logos is that we were continuously trying to figure out ways to have a Coffin Cat logo that you'd recognize it's us, but you'd be able to read it from far away. But we wanted to have it, have some sort of originality to it. And if you have noticed our imagery in the last 5 years, we've been kind of maintaining this logo we called the Slasher logo, which was designed by Mark Kosobuki, who does a lot of art for other great artists such as Misfits and a lot of other bands as well. And so it was cool linking up with him because he understood what we were saying about, I want to be able to have a t-shirt design where if you looked across a festival and saw that shirt, you'd recognize it being our shirt, at least with the logo. So that's very important, as far as I'm concerned, is making sure that people can actually read and understand the name.
Sean Murphy, I'm a photographer, advertising, music, fashion photographer, been in the game for a very long time, and still doing it, and even at this old ripe age. I came up in the the film days, the late 90s, early 90s. I went to school, graduated in 93, but started shooting music soon after. So a lot of the 90s bands, early 2000s bands, and pretty much any band you can think of from the early, Weezer's a big one for me. That's the band I work with still to this day for the last 25 years, and Maynard from Tool and Green Day, and all the things. I mean, my favorite bands that I've ever shot would be like PJ Harvey. That's kind of my favorite genre of music, and all over the place. But then in the advertising world, it's a very very wide net has been cast. It's everything from car campaigns to pharmaceutical companies and everything in between, and then also the fashion apparel world, same thing, from Adidas to 47 brand and everything in between, and stock imagery for Getty Images. So, and then and also outdoor space. So I've worked for one of the biggest paddleboard companies in the world called Boat Boards, and all the outdoor brands and surfing, and so when I say it, it's like, wow, that's a lot of shit, So it's quite a vast array of different sort of content, which I love. And kind of in the beginning, it hurt me because I did so many things. It was hard for people to kind of nail down what it is I did. So if I wanted to shoot a band, they might Google me or something and see, while he's shooting for Quaker Oats, what's he going to do for us, for our album cover, or vice versa. See